Welcome students, welcome to the next topic of capacitors and electrical capacitance of unit number first of 10 plus 2 physics. In today's topic we are going to discuss the electrical capacitance and capacitors and all the types of capacitors, the principle of capacitors, the grouping of capacitors, and some more topics which are very important for the capacitors. So first of all we are going for what is electrical capacitance. The electrical capacitance of any conductor is its ability to store electric charge. Any conductor can store charge, and that is the ability to store charge is known as electrical capacitance. You all know if we give a charge to any conductor, if we give charge to any conductor, let's say we are having any conductor here, if we give charge Q to that, obviously the potential of the conductor is going to rise. So obviously we can write in this way, the potential is proportional to Q, obviously. Directly proportional means if charge is going to rise, then electric potential is also going to rise. And similarly we can write it in this way as well, Q is proportional to V, and to remove this symbol of proportionality we have to use a constant, and that constant can be taken as C. Now this is going to be the required formula, and that is very important for that topic. So Q is equal to CV. Now here C is known as electrical capacitance, or you can simply say the capacity word. So where C is known as electrical capacitance, and it is in constant. And this constant depends upon the shape of the conductor, or you can say shape or dimensions of the conductor. It also depends upon the medium, but it does not depend upon the type or nature of the material of conductor. So this constant depends upon the shape or dimensions of the conductor, and it also depends upon the medium. Now obviously we can have a capacity formula from that formula, that C is also going to be equal to Q upon V. So which means, capacity of any conductor can be written as, so that is going to be charge over potential difference. Now we can easily make unit out of that. The capacity units can be now, as for SI units, the charge can be in coulomb and potential difference can be in volt. And for 1 coulomb over 1 volt, that unit is going to be 1 farad. That is the shortcut name for coulomb over volt is farad, and farad is going to be the SI unit for capacity. So that is going to be the SI unit for capacity. And similarly we can also make CGS units. For CGS units, the capacity units are going to be stat farad. Now what is going to be stat farad here? 1 stat farad is equal to obviously 1 stat coulomb, which is CGS unit of charge, and 1 volt over 1 stat volt. And you can also make a relation between them, and that is going to be very important for numerical purposes. Let's say we are going to make a 1 farad over 1 coulomb over 1 volt. We can modify that formula. Now if 1 farad is equal to 1 coulomb over 1 volt, obviously, so 1 coulomb can be converted into, yes, stat coulomb, that is 3 into 10 raised to power 9 stat coulomb, and 1 volt can be converted into stat volt, that is going to be 1 over 300 stat volt. We have already done this. So therefore 1 farad is going to be 9 into 10 raised to power 11 stat farad. Obviously stat coulomb over stat volt is going to be stat farad. Now that is going to be very important relation for numerical purposes if we want to convert SI unit into CGS or CGS unit into SI units. So it's very easy because 1 farad is 1 coulomb over 1 volt. So 1 coulomb over 1 volt, and 1 coulomb is equal to, in CGS units, 3 into 10 raised to power 9 stat coulomb, which we have already done in previous topics. And obviously 1 volt is also 1 over 300 stat volt. So by converting this, 9 into 10 raised to power 11 stat farad. So that is the relation between farad and stat farad, and it's very important. Now, we can also make a dimensional formula for capacity or electrical capacitance as well. For dimensional formula, we know the formula here. So that is dimensional formula for capacity is charge. Now, what is potential? Potential is work upon charge. We all know electric potential is work upon charge. So, which can be written as Q square upon W, which is work. Now, what is going to be dimensional formula for charge? That is AT. So, AT square. Now, what is dimensional formula for work? M L2 T minus 2. So, therefore, dimensional formula for capacity is going to be, yes, M minus 1, L2, which means L minus 2, and now T minus 2 and T square. Yes, so that is going to be T4 and A square. So that is dimensional formula for capacity. So it's very easy because capacity is charge upon potential and potential is work upon charge. So this charge comes out to be Q square, and here's work, and charge is current into time, so which means A into T, so AT square. Now work dimensional formula is M L2 T minus 2, force into displacement, so which means M minus 1, L minus 2, T4 and A square. So that is going to be the dimensional formula for capacitance. Now that is all about electrical capacitance, but we use some practical units of electrical capacitance because 1 farad is going to be a very bigger unit. So in numericals, or you can say in simple topics, we are not going to use farad or stat farad. We are going to use some practical units, and those practical units are just like microfarad. Now what is microfarad? Yes, so microfarad is going to be 10 raised to power minus 6 farad. Yes, millifarad, or you can say nanofarad is 10 raised to power minus 9 farad. Picofarad is going to be 10 raised to power minus 12 farad. And you can also use milli, 10 raised to minus 3. Now, micro, nano and pico, these are going to be our practical units for numericals, because 1 farad is going to be a very bigger unit, and it is not possible for us to make a conductor of having an electrical capacitance of 1 farad. And we are also going to prove that in next topic. So our next topic is going to be the spherical conductor. Now, what is going to be the electrical capacitance of a spherical conductor? I'm just going to raise that. So our next topic is electrical capacitance of a spherical conductor. Now obviously, if we are going to have a spherical conductor, you all know the charge is always going to reside on the outer surface of spherical conductor. Now let's say we are having a spherical conductor. Obviously the charge is going to be on the outer surface of any electrical conductor, because charge inside and electric field, charge and electric field inside a spherical conductor is always going to be 0. So obviously that charge is going to be Q. Now, how we can make a formula out of that? Now, for spherical conductor, if that R is going to be a radius here, so we all know what is going to be the potential. The electric potential is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q over R, and where epsilon naught is going to be the absolute permittivity of free space. So that is marked as question number 1. Now, what is going to be the another formula for Q is equal to CV? Now, how you are going to make a formula out of that? We all know Q is equal to CV. So now we are going to use the formula of you can say capacity is going to be Q upon V. So now we are going to use equation 1 here. Now we are going to put up that value of potential here. So which means capital C is going to be Q upon, yes, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. Now Q is going to cancel out. So C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R. Now that is going to be the formula for electrical capacitance of a spherical conductor. So which means that is going to be electrical capacitance of, let's say, spherical conductor. That is going to be the heading of that. Now, why this formula is important? Now, if we are going to use this R as a radius of Earth, now what is going to be the capacitance of Earth? Now let us suppose we are having a bigger conductor. Let's say we are having a Earth as an electrical conductor. Now what is going to be the electrical capacitance of that? Now we can use that formula. We all know 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is equal to 9 into 10 raised to power 9. So obviously we can reverse that and we can use that constant value as 1 over 9 into 10 raised to power 9. We have already done this in previous topics. So if R is going to be radius of Earth here, let's say R is going to be radius of Earth. Now obviously you all know what is going to be radius of Earth, 6400 kilometer, or you can say 6.4 10 raised to power 6 meter. Now we are going to put up that value of R here if we are going to calculate that numerical for Earth. So which means the capacity of Earth is going to be, let's say the capacity of Earth is going to be 1 over 9 into 10 raised to power 9 multiplied by 6.4 10 raised to power 6. Now, if you are going to solve that, the answer is going to be 711 into 10 raised to power minus 6. So, which means 711 microfarad is going to be your answer of that numerical. Microfarad. We are not going to achieve 1 farad here. Now if we are having a bigger conductor just like Earth, we are using the radius of Earth, still we are not getting 1 farad. Now you can imagine what is going to be the 1 farad unit of electrical capacitance. It's a very, very bigger unit, and it is not possible to make a conductor of 1 farad capacity. And if you want to have a statement of any 1 farad, now what is going to be 1 farad? Now if we are having a formula of 1 farad here, so 1 farad is 1 coulomb over 1 volt. So obviously, because C is equal to Q upon V, so if you are going to have a potential difference of 1 unit, now if V is going to be 1, so C is equal to Q. So it is just the electrical capacitance is just that charge where we can raise the potential difference of any conductor to unity. So, and similarly we can also find the statement of stat farad as well, and this is going to be very easy for you how we can make a formula for spherical conductor, and that is a simplest of numerical if we are taken Earth as a conductor. Still our Earth is going to be having an electric capacitance of 711 microfarad, and that is going to be your topic. Now we are moving for the capacitors. Now what is going to be a capacitor? Now there is a difference between capacitance and capacitor. Capacitance is the property and capacitor is going to be a device which is using that property. Now obviously what is going to be capacitor here? So now we are going to solve the topics for capacitor. Now capacitor is an electrical device which is used to store charge or electrical energy. Now how we can make that we will discuss in principle of capacitor. First of all, the symbol of capacitor. The symbol of capacitor is just two parallel lines. So that is going to be the symbol of capacitor, and we can use that as well. If we are seeing that kind of symbol, so which mean that symbol is for variable capacitance, in which we can vary the capacitance of that capacitor manually. So that is going to be a perfect symbol, which is a normal capacitor symbol, and that is a symbol for variable capacitor, in which we can vary the capacitance manually. And we have already done the dimensional formula of capacitance as well. Now, what is going to be the purpose, or you can say uses? Now, what is going to be uses of capacitors? Capacitors are used everywhere in electronic devices, which means it is used in LED bulbs, it is used in television sets, LEDs, remote controls, mobile phones, each and everything you use, we are going to use the capacitors. There are some smaller or bigger capacitors in all the electrical instruments, you can say. And you have already seen them in the fans, a cylindrical type, and in local language we know them with condenser as well. So capacitors are used for supplying electric energy as well, because they can store energy, so that's why they can release energy as well. So that's why they are used in heavy motors as well, which means each and every motor, each and every heavy electrical instrument, just like ACs, submersible pumps, all are using condensers or capacitors, because they need a initial jerk of electrical energy, which is provided by the capacitors. So now that is all about uses. Now what is going to be the principle of capacitor? How a capacitor, a simple capacitor can store energy. Now we are going to use the principle of capacitor. So let's say we are having two electrical conductors. So one is A, another is B, and the conductor A is given a charge up to a potential let's say the potential is going to be V, the fully charged conductor A. Now if a conductor B is placed very close to that, so that is diagram number first. Now if we place that conductor with another uncharged conductor, you all know what is going to happen. So there should be a induced charge here, and obviously that induced charge can reduce some positive charge, because some negative combined with the positive, so we have to give some more charge to the conductor A. So which means the capacity of that circuit is going to rise, because now we have to give it more positive charge here, because some of the charge is reduced by that negative. Obviously if negative comes in that direction, the induced charge positive will also come here. Now to make a perfect capacitor, what we are going to use? So it's very simple. Now in the third diagram we will have our capacitors. So obviously that is always going to be fully charged plate A. So to reduce that positive charge, we use a grounded plate B on the other side. So which means now the positive charge goes to the ground, and now that negative charge going to impact more on that positive charge, and we have to supply more positive charge to plate A to make it fully charged. So which means by placing just a fully charged conductor with an uncharged conductor, we are going to have a capacitor. Now the capacitance of that segment is going to rise. That is how electric charge is stored in those plates. In between of them there is going to be a dielectric medium, or you can say a vacuum or air as well. So that is how a capacitor works. So just two plates, two conducting plates, one is fully charged and one is grounded on the other side. So that is going to make a capacitor. Just we are having two markers here, so two conductors. that is fully charged and that is uncharged, but that is grounded from the outer side, and that make a capacitor. But we normally sees capacitors as cylindrical devices. So a cap of cylindrical cap is protected from external electric field. That is why they are seen like parallel plate capacitors. So that is going to be the main principle of parallel plate capacitors. So hope you understand that. So just a simple plate which is fully charged and an uncharged plate which is placed very close to that, and if we ground that plate, that is going to make a capacitor, and now that device can store charge. Obviously the charge follows conservation laws. Charge can neither be created nor be destroyed, but we can store charge. By applying two conducting plates, we can increase the capacity of that device, and that charge can be used when we need it. Now, what are going to be the types of capacitors? Now, types. So there are three types. So first is parallel plate, and second is spherical, and third is cylindrical. So parallel plate capacitors, both the plates are parallel to each other, as we have already seen in the last topic. In spherical capacitors, both the plates are in parallel plate, both the plates are parallel. In spherical, both the plates are spherical. And in the cylindrical, both the plates are cylindrical, just like that. So in our syllabus, we are having just parallel plate capacitors. So now we are going to make a formula for parallel plate capacitors. And so parallel plate capacitor, just the two plates are parallel to each other, and for spherical, two plates are spherical to each other, and in cylindrical capacitors, two plates are placed cylindrically, just like as in a envelope of first cylinder to another. So that is going to be two plates. Now inside cylinder is going to be plate A, and that is going to be the plate B. So that is very easy. For spherical, that is plate A, that is plate B, that is plate A, that is plate B. So that is going to be very easy for you. Now we are moving for the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor. Now the next topic is capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, because we are having in syllabus the parallel plate capacitor only. Now I am just going to make a diagram. So if that is going to be A, now I am having a name of P and Q plates, and if that is going to be a positive charge here, and that is going to be the negative charge here, and the positive charge outside of plate Q is grounded, so that's why it vanishes. So now what is going to be the formula to make a formula of a parallel plate capacitance? Now the heading is capacitance of parallel plate capacitor. Now we are going to use some previous formulas as well. As we have done in Gauss theorem, a formula is, yes, sigma is equal to, yes, E is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. We have already used that in application of Gauss law. Now just from, you can say, Gauss law. So that is marked as equation number 1. Now we know that the potential gradient. Now what is going to be the potential gradient? We have already done that topic as well. So where E is equal to V upon D. Now we are using a modulus here. Now what is going to be D here? D is going to be the difference between plates. So obviously here from we can have V is equal to, yes, E into D, and now we can replace that E by the equation 1. So using equation 1 here, now what is the value of E? That is sigma upon epsilon naught into D. Now that is going to be the formula, new formula. Now what is sigma? that is surface charge density. You all know that is surface charge density. Now surface charge density is equal to, yes, charge upon area. Now we are having area A here, so which means sigma is equal to charge upon area. Now we are going to replace that value. So V is equal to Q upon A epsilon naught into T. Now that is marked as equation number 2. Now it's very easy from here. Now what is Q is equal to? Q is equal to CV and C is equal to Q upon V. Now using equation 2 here. So using equation 2 here. So C is equal to Q upon A epsilon naught into D. Now Q is cancelled out. Now what is going to be the formula of capacitance? A epsilon naught upon D. Now that is the formula, and that is very important formula for capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. A is area of the plate, epsilon naught is absolute permittivity of free space, and D is the distance between two plates. So that is going to be the formula, A epsilon naught upon D. Now write that formula on your formula list, because that formula is going to solve many numericals of capacitors. Okay, so that is all about capacitance of parallel plate capacitors. Now we are moving for the grouping of capacitors. Now what is going to be the grouping? Now capacitors can be placed in two ways, which means grouping of capacitors can be in series or can be in parallel. So that is comes under grouping of capacitors. So capacitors can be arranged in two ways. So one is, you can say, in series, and one is in parallel. Now what is going to be a series combination? Obviously if the capacitors are placed one after the other, I am just taking 3 capacitors, you can take any number of capacitors. So I am just taking 3 capacitors, so capacitor C1, capacitor C2, capacitor C3. So let's say they are having a total potential of V. Obviously if capacitors are arranged in series, so every capacitor is going to have a different potential. So V1, V2 and V3. Now what is going to be the total potential? So total electric potential is going to be V1 plus V2 plus V3. I am just using 3 capacitors, so you can use any number of capacitors, 3, 4, 5 and up to N as well. Now we all know, so that is marked as equation number 1, and we know that a formula Q is equal to CV. So therefore V is equal to Q upon C. Now similarly, so what is going to be V1? So that is going to be Q upon C1. What is going to be Q2? That is going to be Q upon C2. And what is going to be V3? That is going to be Q upon C3. So just putting those values here. So therefore equation 1 becomes, now, so that is going to be Q upon C, Q upon C1, Q upon C2 and Q upon C3. Now Q is cancelled out here. Now that is going to be the formula 1 upon C, 1 upon C1, 1 upon C2 and 1 upon C3. Now that is going to be the formula for capacitors in series. Capacitor in series 1 upon C1, 1 upon C2 and up to 1 upon Cn. How number of capacitors are used here in that circuit? We are just placing 1 over. Always remember that if we are using that formula, capacitor in series, the net capacitance is always going to decrease because we are having a formula for 1 over. Now how we can make a parallel combination formula? So we are just placing capacitors in parallel. Now how capacitors are added in parallel? all the plates are attached to a single point and all the B plates are attached to a similar kind of point. So let's say if that potential is going to be V. Always remember that in series combination the potential is going to vary, the charge remains constant, and in parallel combination the potential is always going to be same, but the charge is going to vary, Q1, Q2, Q3 as well. Now the capacitors names are C1, C2 and C3. I am just taking 3 capacitors, you can take any number of capacitors. So obviously if charge is going to vary from Q1, Q2, Q3, the total charge, now that is for parallel combination, so total charge Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Now just using the formula Q is equal to CV. Therefore Q1 is equal to, yes, C1V. Q2 is equal to C2V. And Q3 is equal to C3V. Now just putting those values here. So CV, yes. So C1V, C2V and C3V. Now the potential is going to cancel out. So which means C is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. We are just adding the capacitors, so in the parallel combination. So which means the capacitance in parallel is going to be equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3 and so on up to Cn. How many number of capacitors are added in parallel? So we are just going to add them simply. So that is in parallel combination. In series combination, we are just going to add them 1 over Cs is equal to 1 upon C1, 1 upon C2 and 1 upon Cn. These formulas are quite familiar to you, that we have used in 9th and 10th class for resistances, but they are reverse of each other because resistance and capacitance are reciprocal to each other. Always remember that. The formulas you use in 9th and 10th for resistances, they are going to reverse here. The resistance in parallel formula is just like that and resistance in series formula is just like that. So we are just replacing those formulas by you can say by reversing them in series and parallel, because capacitance and resistance are reciprocal to each other, which means capacitance and resistance are reverse properties of any conductor. Now that is all about for this class, and we will take further topics in the next part of capacitors and capacitance. So till then, stay safe, stay healthy and like that video, and thank you so much. Thank you.